That was another clip from the movie Cloverfield, starring Michael Stahl-David, a Chicago boy, born and raised.
He was born and raised in Chicago with a theater degree from Columbia College, and I caught up with him recently by phone prior to our screening of the film, Maddie, and I began by asking him how he got from Columbia to Cloverfield.
You know, when I graduated, I moved to New York, mostly because I wanted to do theater. I was like, if I can get a play within a year, I'll be happy. And I did. I got a play in New Jersey. But then I also got this show, The Black Donnellys. I started, you know, in that I kind of learned how to work on film. I hadn't worked that much on film before, and so I got comfortable on the set. And then the next year, it was just another audition. I was going on a lot of auditions, hearing no a lot. And this is one that, that went well. The character sat well with me, and it was a long process. I had to fly myself out, at the last minute, not knowing what was going to happen, spend a bunch of money on a plane ticket, and then they flew me out a second time. And, finally it ended with, like, J.J. Abrams walking out of an audition to write a monologue on the spot and handing it to me. And, and then just me being like, all right, well, we just went for it.
Well, considering how secretive everything surrounding this project has been, what was that audition process like compared to other auditions you've been on?
There was no script to read, which was kind of a relief in a way. I was like, oh, good, I don't have to read another script. But it was also just everybody in the audition, in the waiting room, was like, what is this? What is going on? Isn't this weird? There's no script? No, they wouldn't give me a script. So, not knowing. And then, and then I got the part, and I'm like, oh, great, what is it? They're like, we'll tell you later.
Well, I read where you went for this feeling like it was something you were right for. You said the character sat well with you. How so?
Well, something that I was really interested in about Rob is not making him any braver or more or stronger than any guy would be, or me or anybody, So he is kind of actually there's a shyness to him, I think, actually. And in the first scenes that I auditioned with, it was really about this relationship between him and Beth, this girl who he's just thought, oh my God, this girl is so gorgeous, she's too good for me. And he's a little shy around her, but he's totally in love with her. So that's not really what it's not that movie. It's not the movie where you're seeing a lot of that guy because he's in this crazy situation. But that sort of thing, that awkwardness and that, that was easy for me.
J.J. Abrams pitched this movie as a Cameron Crowe movie meets Godzilla meets the Blair Witch Project, and from what you said, I can kind of see that. Can you expand a little bit on what J.J. Abrams may have meant by that as a Cameron Crowe film here within a monster movie?
Well, I mean, it is this handheld point of view, right? So you've got that mixed with special effects, mixed with this epic thing happening, but you're not seeing the general who's making the pronouncement of, we got to attack this thing or any of that. You're not seeing that stuff. You're just seeing us through this point of view. So it ends up being really a character movie where you're watching, you get to know us really well. It feels very intimate, like you're really just there with us. And so it ends up being this very exciting, and I feel like it's completely unlike anything that's been done. I mean, yeah, it definitely draws on those movies, or you can compare it to, for a quick comparison, those work. But I mean, what I'm excited about is I think people are going to think that they're going to say, wow, this is different.
The first-person style of the film, does that require much of an adjustment as an actor? I mean, you're used to being on stage and projecting to a crowd or acting for the camera, but not necessarily right at the camera where you're interacting with someone behind it.
Yeah, but it's hard because that person is also in the same situation you're in. So it might not make sense for him to have the camera on you. So the camera's not there basically to tell the story that you want to tell. It's there as a witness of what's going on, and we were very true to that. If the camera too conveniently captured a moment, it seemed fake. So a lot of stuff gets, so acting, it was difficult because, you could be doing something subtle with your eyes, whatever, and camera's not going to catch it. Maybe HUD with the camera's behind you. So it's the shot's on your back. Or maybe, he's also running down the street. I mean, so our first commitment was to that style and to the truth of that you believe that you're there with us. So we stuck with that. So that made sometimes you had to, actually my theater acting, I think, came in handy at times because sometimes you just had to go bigger because the camera wasn't right there, framing up your face perfectly. So, you just had to kind of put it out there big time.
There's been a lot of excitement around this film, of course, but have you ran into any people who say, I'm just not really into monster movies, so I'm not that excited about it? What would you tell people like that to convince them to see it, or would you even try?
Well, if they don't want to, that's fine. If they don't want, I'm not really too worried about that. But at the same time, I would say, it's not your typical monster movie. It's, like I said, it's a movie about these people trying to survive a situation. Look, it's intense. If somebody said to me, like, I really don't like to be scared, I really don't like, jostling stuff, I don't, I'd say, okay, don't, go watch a romantic comedy. But if you're worried about it not having the depth and the kind of character stuff that I think a lot of these movies just kind of go with the pulp excitement of it, this goes further than that. I just think it's fun to be part of the conversation, and I think this movie is something that a lot of people, I think some people aren't going to like it, but I think that's going to be, I think no matter what, it's going to be something that you walk out of the theater talking about and excited about. And, if you're really susceptible to motion sickness, take a Motrin, that's what my mom is going to do.
Where can people see you next?
I'm in a film called The Project that's getting screened at Slamdance the following week after Cloverfield opens. So, hopefully that'll get a distributor and that'll start playing around select cities. But you can check out the trailer for that on YouTube, and then, we'll see what happens next.
Well, best of luck to you. Thanks a lot for your time this morning.
All right, thank you.
Again, that was Michael Stahl-David, star of the new film Cloverfield, and he referenced the current film he is in, The Project, playing out at Slamdance in Park City, Utah. We will be out in Park City for Sundance, of course. Maybe we will have a chance to check out that film. We may even catch up with him at one of those swanky parties I know you plan on attending, Maddie.
Time for another quick break. When we return, there will be feedback. Adam and I dive into the listener mailbag for your thoughts on P.T. Anderson's latest, our 2008 movie preview, and more. Stay with us.